Shalom to the elect. This is your brother Samat coming to you once again with another lesson in transit, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, and double honors to our elders and our apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Alright, so today's lesson I'm going to talk about building your brother up and being a better friend, being a better brother. And it's not good that a man should be alone in his truth. Although the Most High may have some men set up alone for whatever reason, or some men just may be alone on their own accord. Nonetheless, the scriptures stand true, right? Saying that that it's not good that man should be alone, and I firmly believe that to be true. Being as though I come from I have a few brothers in this truth. I've always been a part of a camp for the most part, and it's always good having brothers because that camaraderie and that brotherhood is essentially what helps keep you aligned in the truth. And that's why the Most High set it up, essentially. We know that the scriptures say that only one man can walk down this path, and that is true. Meaning, no one else is responsible for your salvation but you, essentially. No one else can get you to the kingdom. No one can carry your hand to the kingdom, right? You have to walk that path alone. So, and at your own pace, right? You have to walk it at your own pace too, because it's not a race, right? It's not a sprint. It's all about finishing, and we're all going to essentially finish at the same time. The race is going to be over. Essentially, the run. I'm going to say the run, not the race. The run is going to be over at the same time. It's not a matter of distance per se. It's a matter of time, a time frame, a duration. So as long as we run our course, when that clock hits 0 and the Lord strikes times up, and then he sends his angels on the chariots to come get his elect from the four winds of the earth, especially predominantly here in America, right? Because America will be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles, right? Completely destroyed, a wasteland. So the Most High has to send the chariot, right? Until that time, you have to just run your course, run your race at your pace. And within that run, we have the brotherhood and that camaraderie that we build each other up. So starting off with Proverbs 27:17, it says, and I'm roughly paraphrasing, it says, iron sharpens iron, so does a man sharpen the countenance of his friend, right? So iron sharpens iron. When you sharpen a sword, you have to sharpen the sword with another object likened unto itself. In order for that sword or that weapon to be sharpened, that knife to be sharpened, it has to be sharpened with something that's likened unto itself. Something as hard as you, if you will. So, and how do you apply that to other men, right? Like it says, a man sharpening the countenance of his friend. Well, we pick each other up when we're feeling down, all right? The book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, I believe 39:12 says, be thou continually with the godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the laws, whom will miscarry with you, whom will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. All right, so roughly paraphrasing, saying that you want to be abiding and walking with a godly man, one that you know is to follow the law, statute, commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Essentially, one to walk after the spirit of Yahweh Shai and to observe the laws of Yahweh. One to heed the words of the scriptures, and who's ultimately on his walk in self-mastery himself, right? I like to say self-mastery because we strive for perfection, but we'll never be perfect by literal definition. But by biblical definition, we may be perfect, right? Which is just being upright, being righteous. And our righteousness is as filthy rags, but we still strive for righteousness, right? We still sacrifice and put off the weak nature of the flesh to the best of our ability. And having that brotherhood allows you to see things that you don't necessarily see yourself. You may see flaws and faults within you. You may not see flaws and faults within yourself that a brother may. And you have to also have the humility to be able to accept when a man who is a part of your body, right? A man who is of your flock, that's a part of the same body, you have to be humble enough to accept that reproof and that admonishment. I like the word admonishment in this terms, because rebuke, is correction and things like that. But usually rebuke is hard, which is good. But admonishment typically goes more so into like guided correction. It's usually like encouragement and correction at the same time. So usually like it would be equivalent to motivation. That's admonishment. Rebuke is more so discipline. So I think, rebuke is more in line with disciplining someone, and then admonishing is more so motivating someone. You're still correcting them, right? But you're doing it in a motivational manner. So you need a balance of the two, in my opinion. And you also got to know the man you're dealing with to know what he needs more of. But to be honest, as men, we all need hard rebuke sometimes, and as you got to be man enough. And contrary to popular belief, just because you're humble doesn't make you less of a man. Actually, being humble is a masculine trait. Taking accountability is a masculine trait. Now, I'm not saying let anybody talk to you any kind of way. That's not the point. It's called respect. Now, I'm not saying when you rebuke somebody hard that you're coming at them disrespectfully. No, that's not the case. You're coming at them hard, meaning like you're not pulling no punches. You're calling it like it is. You're telling the brother like, yo, brother, you're better than this, but you're acting like a bitch right now. That decision, the thing that you're doing right now is, you coming hard on them. You're telling them the things about themselves that they don't want to hear. It's hard to hear that you're fucking up, that you're wrong, that you're moving like a pussy, roughly, just being frank, you know what I mean? I'm not telling you to call a brother those things, but tell him he's acting like it, right? You're being childish, bro. And, yeah, man, we need that. All right. So another precept in Proverbs, I believe, is 11 and 12. I believe it's 11, 12, and it goes into how where there is no counsel, all right, the people fall, basically. But in the multitude of many counselors, there's safety. So when you have like-minded men that have either more experience or just have different experiences than you're able to get a diversity of knowledge. And there's going to be situations that a brother may go through that he can shed light and give you advice on how to navigate a situation, because he's been through it and he made the mistake, and he's telling you how to do it so you can avoid the mistake. And sometimes you'll be able to heed it exactly how the brother said it and avoid the mistake. But then at the same time, sometimes even with that advice, you may attempt to do it, but it doesn't work out, and you still make the mistake because that just was meant for you to make that mistake. But at the end of the day, you still heeded the advice and you still had that counsel. So then when you actually make the mistake, I truly believe that within that mistake, you're able to navigate it better because you already had the counsel. And you attempted the counsel, but it just didn't work out that way because, again, no two situations are exactly the same. So a situation may have went down one way for a brother, but it may be similar but not quite the same. So you can't replicate what he did exactly. So, that also comes into wisdom, which we always say, chew the meat, spit out the bones, right? Or take it with a grain of salt. So, like, you have to take what you can and apply what you can. So, that's the beauty of having brothers, man. So if a man is alone, bro, if any of you younger brothers are out there and you're alone, even if you camp alone, I think you should still, it would behoove you, based on this, what the scriptures say, to link up with some brothers. If you have brothers that are within arm's reach, that maybe is a driving distance, maybe local, or maybe not, but, brothers that you can genuinely and organically build a relationship with, virtually. It happens, you know what I mean? But just be wise about it and just be authentic, you know what I mean? Don't be overzealous and try to make brothers like you. Just be yourself, man. And be honest. That's the best way you can honestly, that's the best way to gain someone's trust, is to just be authentically honest, man. Let a brother know, listen, I'm in this city. There's really no brothers that I know of that are within arm's reach or local. I've been following you brothers for a while. I'm edified, I desire to have some type of camaraderie, some type of brotherhood, I'm not asking to be a part of camp or anything or hang out, but just be in touch if I reach out if I need some advice, or vice versa, whatever. Be honest, you know what I mean? And if the spirits on the brothers to be righteous as they should, they should accept you. Not saying that they are entitled to just open their arms and let you into their homes. No, by all means, scripture say prove a friend. So, but brothers should give you a chance. Brothers should actually attempt to get to know you. And it'll happen organically in the Lord's time. So, that's pretty much the point. There's also a scripture in Sirach, the 6th chapter, starting around the 12th, 13th verse, that just goes into, it talks about how a friend is like a medicine. You know what I mean? Having a good friend is like medicine. You know what I mean? Sometimes, you'll be in a state of spirit ache. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just need counsel, man. Sometimes you need reassurance. Sometimes you need validation. It's okay. It's nothing wrong with needing these things sometimes. We're in the flesh. And trust me, men need validation. It's a fact. We don't depend on it, but every so often a man needs some type of reassurance or some type of validation for the things that he's doing. Because if you're a man and you're out here and you're just laboring, but you're not getting any validation or any reassurance or any validity of your work is actually successful, if it's working or not, right? You'll drive yourself insane. And eventually what's going to happen is you're going to eventually fumble. You're going to stop. You're going to pivot. But in reality, what you're doing is working. You just needed a little validation, a little reassurance. And usually the Lord, especially if you're praying to the Lord will make that happen for you. You know what I mean? But if you got brothers, your brothers, and they're sincere and genuine. I'm talking about real brothers, man. They'll give you that, bro, from time to time, and it's okay. You need that. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, so that's pretty much the point of this lesson. Just going over the importance of camaraderie and brotherhood. And if you don't have it, you should seek it. And if you do have it, let this lesson be an eye opener that you should start to utilize the brotherhood more often if you don't, as well as focus on being a better brother. You should be a better friend. Always improve, because what? We serve Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai clearly said that the greatest two laws are to serve Yahweh and none other, or to worship Yahweh and none other, right? And to love your neighbor like you love yourself. And the only way you can love your neighbor like you like yourself is to work on yourself first off, so that you can be a beneficial to the brotherhood. Because what good is it if you offer no value to the body, right? So you have to make sure that you are cultivating something within yourself so that you add value, you provide value, but then at the same time, you acknowledge your other brother's value. You utilize their skills and their gifts. And that's pretty much the point. So, Lord willing, this video was edifying. I'm almost at my destination anyway, so Spirit had it end the way it had to end. I believe the point was made. Once again, all praise to Yahweh Shai. Till next time, shalom.